My wife is the definition of jealous. You want to hear the ultimatum that she made for me? She said either we open up the relationship so it's an open one and she can date whoever she wants, or she's going to file for divorce and take 50% of my assets. Guys, she's capable of doing it and I'm scared. Do I open up our relationship? Would you ever agree to an open marriage just to save your relationship? I know that it's a very strange question to ask, but please guys bear with me. There's a reason why I'm asking this question, and I happen to find myself in this predicament. I've often heard stories about couples who have an open marriage to spice things up, but I've never considered it. Though my marriage is not perfect, I've never thought about being with another woman. My wife is more than enough for me, but she does not seem to understand that. Because of this, she has now asked me for an open marriage. Her main reasoning is that she's constantly worried about me having an affair one day, so she just wants to rip it in the bud and have me get it out of the system. My question when she proposed this was, get what out of my system, baby? I've never had any desire to cheat or be with another woman. I've told her this countless times, but she doesn't seem to understand. It frustrates me beyond belief because of how devoted I am to her. I'm willing to do anything just to make her happy, and she knows that. Well, that is probably why she dared to ask me this. She knows that I can do anything to prove my love for her. You must be wondering how we even got to this point. So let me tell you a little bit about me. Well, I'm 39, my wife Elsa, 39 as well. Elsa and I have been married for a decade and have been together for 15 years, and we also have a 15-year-old daughter named Courtney. We had Courtney before we got married and broke up a couple of months after her birth. We co-parented for like 3 years while seeing other people, and toward the end of those 3 years we reconnected. We got married shortly after that and have been together for the past 10 years. Our marriage is good, but Elsa has always had a jealous issue. See, this was one of the main reasons why we broke up all those years ago. She felt as if I was a cheater, and I was cheating on her while she was at home taking care of Courtney, which was not even true. Out of frustration, I ended up breaking up with her. After the breakup, I dated a few other people, but none of the women were like Elsa. None of them had her charm, her wit, and any way of understanding me. Eventually, I decided to take another chance with Elsa. After she broke up with her ex, she only dated one man while we were broken up, and his name was Gavin. Gavin was a huge problem when we were co-parenting. He used every chance he got to flaunt the fact that he was dating the mother of my kid. Due to that, I've always disliked the guy. Luckily, when we got back together, she cut off all strings with him, and I haven't heard a peep from him in years. I've never used her relationship with Gavin against her, but she has used my relationships in the past against me. I'm no longer in contact with any of those women, but she constantly accuses me of talking to them. It's frustrating. It's tiring. I can only reassure her so many times. I'm tired of telling her that I could never look at anyone else but her. It appears that this was on her mind a lot before she came up with this new idea. She sat me down a couple of days ago and tells me that she realized that she had a jealous issue. She hated that she was so jealous and insecure, but she loved me so much, and the only problem was that she had fears of another woman coming to steal me and scoop me up. Because of that, she decided to tackle her fears because, well, she didn't want to lease me due to her irrational fears. Apparently, she did some research online and found out that an open marriage. She said the idea of opening the marriage intrigued her because of the transparency between the partners. She felt that, well, if we had an open marriage, then she wouldn't be so jealous. Even if I was seeing another woman, at least she would know about it. She also said it would be a great opportunity for both of us to explore and spice up the relationship. She told me to just think about it, at least, and we could try new things that we've never tried before and strengthen the relationship. I heard what she was saying, but barely understood it. Why did we need to involve other people in the relationship? Why couldn't we just get marriage counseling or, I don't know, try other things? I felt as if having an open marriage was going a tad bit too far. Wasn't that last resort effort after everything had failed? She insisted that an open marriage was not a last-ditch effort. She claimed that it was actually quite normal nowadays, and apparently many couples have improved trust and communication while in open marriages. Despite the points that she raised, I could not agree to it. I could not imagine her being with another man or me being with another woman. It feels like a bit of betrayal, even if the other person knows. In addition to that, I mean, come on. What if the open marriage takes her jealousy issues further? What if she can't handle the heat when I start going out with another woman? I've explained all this to her, but she's so darn stubborn. All she wants to do is try the open marriage because she's confident that it'll work. I love Elsa, but she's incredibly stubborn. Sometimes she wants something so badly that she'll do anything to get it. It's most likely that she's going to hammer at me for weeks about this, and eventually I'll crack. I don't want that to happen because I think it's a terrible idea. I'd rather that we have, go for couples counseling and work on the issues. Involving other people in our relationship is just not the way to go about it. Maybe this has worked for other people, but I don't think it'll work for us. I have also read up a bit about open marriages. I don't think it's for people with jealousy issues. People like Elsa would fail miserably at such a thing. Despite my warning, she relented. She is convinced that this will help her get over her fears that I would cheat on her. She also says that many men would love the opportunity to explore out of their marriage. Maybe other men would love that idea, but I don't. If I wanted to experience different women, I would have never asked for her hand in marriage. I did all that exploring that I needed to do before getting married, and frankly, there's no one out there for me but Elsa. Sure, she can be stubborn. She can be overbearing and jealous, but she's my kind, caring, lovable little fluffy bear, and understands me like no one else does. She's a wonderful mother to our daughter and makes sure that she's present in her life. Those are the qualities that made me return to her after we had broken up 3 years ago, and I saw no one else that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with than Elsa. I don't want this free pass or opportunity to explore more. I asked her if this is because she required a bit more when it came to intimacy, and she did admit that is, a possibility, one of the reasons. She felt as if we had become quite monotonous due to parenting. So then I tell her that we could research and try new things together, if you know what I mean. I didn't see the need for involving other humans. Her response was that it wasn't the same, and I felt incredibly defeated. It feels like no matter what I say nor do, she's dedicated to this cause. She desperately wants to open up our marriage like a gate, despite the many ways in which it can go wrong. I don't know what to do at this point. On one hand, I want to make her happy, but come on. On the other, I feel like it's a horrible idea. Come on. I feel it in my gut that this will only end in disaster. She's only going to hurt herself with this. This is like a person who's afraid of water deciding to do a dive deep into ocean without training. It'll only end in catastrophe. See, she can't understand that, and I don't know what to do at this point because I love her and want her to be happy, but I'm not happy with this. The thought of it horrifies me, and I don't know what to do. However, I don't want to risk losing her again. Those 3 years without her were making me incredibly empty. And I can't imagine that being the rest of my life like this. I mean, what do you think I should do? What's up, everybody? Mr. Reddito here. So we have an update. The first one comes out 2 weeks after the initial post. And oh boy, things are heating up. A lot of the commenters are hinting at, dude, this is so obvious. Your wife wants an excuse to cheat. She doesn't want to open the relationship to give you free pass. She obviously already has some guys in mind. What do you guys think about today's story? Let me know in the comment section down below what you would do if you were in your, OP's position. Guys, the first update's coming to us now. It's 2 weeks later, update number 1. And by the way, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Update number 1. Thank you for all your comments on my original post. I read each and every comment, and it really helped to broaden my mind. Thank you to those who supported me and validated my reservations on the subject. I raised those points with my wife, and she appeared to understand me.
I also took into account the comments encouraging us to have an open marriage. As I read more, the idea did not seem so bad anymore, especially when I realized that if things did not work out, we could just go back to normal. I decided to have an open discussion with my wife, and it was very fruitful. I told her that I wanted to try to open our marriage for a year. If either of us did not like it, then we had to go ahead and close the marriage. I also stated that we needed to have rules about the open marriage to prevent problems. Firstly, we had to tell each other about every single date or relationship that we had. There was no need to go into too much detail about it, and secondly, our daughter was not supposed to find out about this. Lastly, we could not act crazy because we didn't like person or our partner was dating. We wrote all these rules down and signed the paper. Once that was done, I felt a lot less and scared about the endeavor, but a knot remained in my little tummy because I admitted something from her part. A part of me thinks that she's testing me by granting an open marriage, and because of that, I've decided not to date any other woman. I'll pretend to go on dates, but they will all fail. I'll not pursue a relationship with any woman or do anything else with her. I do understand that my wife is probably going to get a lot of dates and even have relationships. I'm not blind to the fact that she's an incredibly beautiful, sought-after woman. I'm going to try my hardest to be okay with it, because at the end of the day, I'm the one who has her heart, not whoever she's going on a date with. I'm going to up my game, be more romantic towards her so that she falls in love with me all over again. No matter who she meets on dates, they're never going to even compete with me. Soon she's going to tell me that she wants to close the marriage and we will live happily ever after. I think that this is a wonderful plan with potential for success. I just have to somehow deal with the fact that she's going to be dating other men. I hate the idea of her being with someone else. I just hope that she chooses people who respect her and treat her like the queen that she is. I'm praying that this turns out well for us. I don't know what I would do if I have my relationship ended because of this. You know, if she does decide to leave me for someone else, I would not be okay. Here's to hoping that this works out and my plan does not just end up falling apart. Updates number 2. 3 months later. Oh my gosh. It's been 3 months into the open relationships and things are not working out in the way I thought. I felt angry, jealous, and surprised in the past couple of months. Something good has also come out of it though, but I'll elaborate in just a bit. A few days after we started the open marriage, my wife tells me that she had a date. I stayed home with Courtney while she went on her date, and when she came back she tells me that it went well and that she would be going on a second date. She went on several more dates with the same man until she decided to tell me more about him. When I saw his picture, I was instantly enraged, but I controlled my emotions. It was her ex, the man she dated during our breakup, and I asked why she didn't tell me that he was, well, her new boyfriend. She reminded me about rule number 3, but I reminded her about rule number 1. She then told me that I never asked the name of the man, which was true. I decided to ask for more details from then on, and even though I hated to do so. At first, I didn't want to know the name of the other man or how he looked because I would start comparing myself. I pushed myself down everything that I felt and acted okay even though I wasn't. She's been dating her ex for the past couple of months, and I hate that guy more every day. Every time she smiles or checks her phone, I imagine that it's him. And every time I see her fresh vase of flowers, I know for a fact it's him. He's probably laughing at me because my wife decided to go back to him, and it makes me feel incredibly inadequate. I've tried to spice up the marriage, but it's not worked. She hardly has time for me and spends a lot of time with him. I explained the absence away to our daughter because I didn't want her to find out what's going on, and it was most likely going to break her. In the time that this has happened, I have not gone on any dates. I've told my wife that I'm not getting any matches, and she believes me. The truth is that I've not even downloaded a dating app or entertained any women. I was resolved to not even try until I met Griselda. She's the owner of an antique store that I've been fancying lately. I've been trying to keep myself busy because my wife is hardly ever home, and I've recently taken an interest in reading old classics, thus I frequent the tiny antique store. She first piqued my interest when she struck up a conversation with me about a specific book that I was purchasing. We spoke for a couple of minutes, but it was one of the most engaging conversations I've ever had. Every time I returned to the store, we had a few short convos. It didn't take long before she started to flirt with me. I was surprised, myself, by flirting back. There was just something about her that was incredibly alluring. I found myself thinking about her more and considering asking for her number. I knew what my initial plan was, but I'd been so lonely that I needed company. I told myself that I would just keep her as a friend when I asked for her number. Griselda. And I talked over the phone many times and eventually started meeting up for a cup of joe. Those coffee dates were the highlight of my week. She made me laugh, engaged with my mind, sparked my curiosity, and made me see the world in a different light. Ella and I have never connected on such an intellectual level. Now, I understand those people who start getting attracted by intelligence. It didn't take long for something to happen between us, but not before I told the truth about my marriage. I thought that she was going to stop talking to me when I did that, but after a couple of days, she asked me out for coffee again. She tells me that she had thought about it and wanted to explore with me. I was incredibly appreciative of her open mind, and so we started seeing each other even more. Griselda and I have been dating for almost a month now, and my wife knows about it. She asked so many questions about Griselda when I told her about our relationship, but she actually reacted pretty swell. I expected her to breathe fire, but she surprised me. She was incredibly supportive and even told me that she was happy for me. It appears that the open marriage is helping with her jealousy. I'm glad because I actually like Griselda, but I obviously still love my wife. Maybe it's possible to have a successful open marriage after all? Who would have thought I'd be saying that? Update number 3, 2 months later. Wow, so it appears that I spoke too fast last time because the past couple of months have been hell. I've seen a side of my wife that I never knew existed. I'm incredibly weary of her and questioning whether I still want to be married to her. When she revealed to me that she was dating her ex, I pushed down all my feelings and supported her. However, when I told her about Griselda, she pretended to accept the relationship, but she was not okay with it, and slowly she started to change her tune. I found Griselda's name in her search bar one evening and discovered that she had actually been watching her online. When I confronted her about it, she said that she was just merely curious. It meant nothing. I let it go, but there was one thing. It was only the beginning. Somehow my wife found out which cafe Griselda and I liked to fancy and showed up there one day. She acted all nonchalant, as if she did not just bump into us, but it was all a lie. I could tell by the way she acted towards G that she had done it to assert some sort of dominance. I've never interrupted her dates with Gavin before. I was extremely upset with her and reminded her that she was the one who asked for this open marriage. This led to a big fight. And that's when she tells me that she wants to end the open marriage, and she tells me that seeing me with Griselda reminded her of how much she loved me and did not want to share me. She begged me to break up with G. I told my wife that I would do no such thing, because we had decided to have an open marriage for a year. It was barely a year into the open marriage, and I was only going to end it once a year had passed, and besides, I told her that this was the perfect time for her to work on her jealousy. She had identified that she had jealousy issues, right? And now it's time for her to work on it. If we went ahead and simply ended the experiment, then it would have been all for nothing. She would have learned nothing, and that was clearly the wrong thing to say to her, because she decides to start messaging my girlfriend and telling her to leave me alone. I was incredibly upset by this and tell her to leave G alone. She didn't heed my request, and she still went after Griselda. She told me that if I wanted her to leave my girlfriend alone, then I was going to close the marriage, and I reminded her of her little boy toy, and she said that she did not love him as much as she loved me. She claimed to be ready to leave him at any point in time, and in the past I would have been happy if she left him, but I found myself quite attached to G. It was a strange feeling that I've never felt before. I've never loved being in someone else's company like that. I found that I did not want to break her little heart. Surely it was possible for us to remain married while we had our individual relationship, me with Griselda. Elsa did not accept it, and due to it she decided to cross a line. After she crossed this line, I think that I cannot be with her anymore. She has shown me an ugly side of her that's absolutely terrifying. She broke rule number 2 of engagement and told Courtney that I was seeing another woman. But she omitted the fact that we had an open marriage, and when I got home one evening, my daughter was giving me the silent treatment, and after trying to talk to her for a while, she snapped. Called me a cheater. She told me that she hated me for the way that I was making her mother cry and suffer. I asked who told her about what's going on, and she said her mother told me silly about the woman I was seeing. Immediately, I located Elsa and I questioned her, and that's when she tells me that she told Courtney that I was a cheater, bold-faced lying cheater. I reminded her that she was seeing her ex, but she said that she broke up with the dude. She added that since she wanted to close the marriage and I didn't, it meant that I was cheating. I was incredibly disgusted by her actions. I did not recognize her anymore. In a fit of rage, I packed all my things and left. I've not spoken to either her nor Courtney after the past week, and I'm considering ending the marriage with Elsa for good. I can't believe that she involved her daughter in this. That was taking things too far. Our daughter is hurt because of her stupid lies. We both swore up and down to never tell her. If she cannot honor that word, then how can I remain married to her? This is the final update. It is 6 months later. This is it. So, clearly the open marriage did not end in the way that we thought it would. Initially, I thought that it would make Elsa and me stronger. But it led to the breakdown of our marriage. I don't know. I had absolutely no idea how toxic Elsa's jealousy was until I was in a relationship with Griselda. My relationship with her is healthy, and she does not nag me or accuse me of being dishonest, and she supports me and loves me, and doesn't guilt-trip me and try to win arguments. That's the reason why I decided to leave my wife for her. After I moved out, Elsa continued to harass me and beg me to return. I told her, "Oh no, buddy, you crossed the line," and that I could never forgive her. I blocked her, basically everywhere, and considered filing a divorce. Funny enough, I bumped into her ex-boyfriend a couple of weeks after that, and I greeted the lad, but did not attempt to have a convo with him. Unfortunately, he had a lot to say to me. He said that it was funny how I once told him that he would never have Elsa again, but she called him up as soon as he returned to town. He then asked me why I suggested an open marriage instead of just breaking up with Elsa. He claimed that he appreciated and loved her more than I did, and I laughed at the fella, and reminded him that Elsa dumped him as soon as she saw that I was dating G. He asked what I meant because she had never dumped him. In fact, she had actually begun dating him way before I suggested the open marriage. I took the opportunity to correct him on the fact that she was the only one who actually suggested the open marriage, not me. He said it didn't matter because at the end of the day, she was seeing him out of our marriage and she never broke up with him. So then I asked him why she was watching me and begging me to close the marriage if she loved him so much, and he got incredibly angry and left. I was left reeling after the new information that was given to me. I couldn't believe that she had started cheating even though she accused me of it our entire marriage. What a hypocrite she was. It was at that moment that I decided to go for the divorce. I filed it, baby. She attempted to stop the divorce, but inevitably she could not do a thing about it. During the divorce proceedings, I revealed everything that happened. I also brought out the contract for the open marriage that was signed, which included the fact that we were not supposed to tell Courtney. During all this, I finally had a conversation with my daughter and told her that the open marriage was both ways equal. I also let her know that her mother was actually cheating on me with her ex before she suggested the open marriage. Courtney was incredibly upset with her mom and decided that she wants me to have full custody of her once she knew the truth. Since she is in her late teens, the judge took her request serious and granted me full custody. My ex-wife tried to get financial compensation, but she failed. She attempted to use the fact that I was paying most of the bills and also giving her an allowance against me. She did some work here and there, but wasn't financially stable. Unfortunately, Due to what she had done to me after I separated from her, she was not eligible for any sort of financial support. She stayed with Gavin for a while, but they eventually broke up. I think that he was financially supporting her because after they broke up, her lifestyle downgraded, and she begged me for money. Obviously, I told her that my girlfriend would not like that. In addition, I did not want to help her out. I blocked her. I deleted her numbers, and Griselda and I are still dating and monogamous. I think I love G.